Hello, everybody. My name is Steve Mullihu, and this is my here first rush to come and record some content, some ideas for you guys. I was sitting, just laying in my bed. It's the day before Father's Day, and I was just having a conversation and was thinking about it as I often do, the words and letters and combinations of these great languages that we know and that make so much of a world of a difference to everybody and everything every day. And this system of language and putting it together and taking it apart and uh, really diving into it has been one of my ultimate fascinations of the last couple of years. And so I've since defined myself as a poet, and I try to do it in the least arrogant of ways that I can, even though I think it's impossible for poetry to be not arrogant, because it squeezes so much into such little space that I think it becomes impossible to not overwhelm some people that don't want to participate honestly in with what poetry is and really kind of means. And I think that's what will always give poetry a bad rap. And I understand that there's a certain stereotype of being a young male poet uh, in a classically female stereotyped universe, despite, of course, all of the famous male poets being the ones that we know out of patriarchal decisions, certainly. But I mean, it's interesting to qualify myself as such. But regardless, I was sitting so transfixed with a poem that I happened to just be writing spontaneously, and this will reveal itself in many hours and days in the future. But surrealism is the ultimate category for me, the ultimate space and concept of narrative and philosophy that I really am attracted to and am drawn to, and both draw out in so much of my poetry and the process as well. And hopefully, at the end of the day, this entire new series that might begin with this is hopefully going to reveal and elucidate some truths about poetry that I think people just don't know, and that I think people would stand to benefit from and make themselves better, happier, smarter, more creative people, because it's such an easy medium to take advantage of, and it's such a rewarding medium to operate in that the littlest things can give you that real happiness. And at the end of the day, I mean, mastering that process in your daily life will be the difference between life and death. But so to return to the original purpose here, the idea that I truly felt so required to, urged to get down for you guys and for myself, is that I was sitting thinking about the title of my last poetry book that I'll link somewhere eventually. The title being Zoo Poem Pom Poem. And again, I mean, listen to that. You can't not think that that's arrogant if if you're not willing to participate in the concept. And this idea of participation is going to be something I will talk about certainly many other times, because I think it's at the core of the failure of human communication now and art on all levels now, and the conversation about art at all levels across all of time. And to master participation, I think, is to become the closest to an optimal human being that can live with other human beings. And so, if I can get some of you to participate more in your universe, something that I think that you'll want to do once I talk about it more, that's enough for me. Being able to make people better, and by extension everything around them better, that should have been our purpose and our goal for everything since forever. But it's too hard to do always. It's too thankless at the end of the day, because you don't see the effects yourself, and that can be really difficult for some people to not be rewarded tangibly. But again, the whole art of poetry is the whole point of all art, but especially poetry, because it doesn't have a visual component on space. It's this appreciation of the intangible, of the mind, of the subconscious, of another human's idea. That's what we love about art. That's why art is interesting. All of science and work goes towards the production of things that are tangible, or work with tangible things. And all of art, in my opinion, is just the opposite, the complement to that idea. Excuse me, in that it's making the intangible, it's the capitalization of the intangible. It's the turning the human mind into something that doesn't perform work on the world, but only goes straight into other people's minds. An animal will never be able to look at art and get what we get from it, but an animal could benefit from the wheel. And that difference is all the difference. And so I'll leave it with the finally getting to the point that I wanted to, was that with this title, Zoo Poem Pum Poem, I thought to myself, well, poem, so the second word is poem, P-O-E-M. The third word is pomme, P-O-M-M-E, French. And the third word is poem, P-O-E-M-E, French. And I thought to myself, well, obviously, all three of these are a play on words, play on letters of the variable image of the word poem. It's effectively reproduced in three different ways, in three different words, yet even some of the same words mean the same thing. And I will certainly go on at some point, but I stopped myself and said, that's not fair. That's not obvious. And I don't ever want to say, obviously this is this, or that this stands for this, or that any connection. No connection is guaranteed. No connection is obvious to everybody. And especially in a medium like this where I don't know who's listening, it is not fair to say that everything is caught. By definition, I'm trying to make it so that you don't catch everything, that there are things hidden. That treasureness of language arts and non-visual arts, and visual arts too in many ways, but to be able to hide things in art, in meaning, to pack so much meaning that it one meaning covers the one behind it, which covers the one behind it, yet they're all there, certainly. That that art, that craft, that interest, and that intrigue and mystery to me is one of the most attractive things about art that there is. And so that's what I really want to work with. And I think that that exemplifies and is emblematic of the world itself, too, certainly. Science is wrapped around every other line in so much of what I do and think about. And art and science are certainly hand in hand insofar as that life imitates art and art imitates life. And these connections are what allow us to draw more connections. And at the end of the day, your imagination is the whole point and purpose and goal of art. Work doesn't need your imagination, and art does. And so I ask you to participate with your imagination and with me, and come at this honestly. I'm coming at it as honestly as I can, and I want to. We can only get everything that I want us to get from this if we're both honest about it. And if you're willing to do that with me and participate and just listen and think and disagree at times, certainly, well, we could have a lot of fun. So we'll be back. I hope you didn't fall asleep, but I wouldn't be offended. So, next time.